Welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about my run at the Birmingham Regional Championships. This video took quite a while to make, not because it's so long and so much effort, but more because I didn't really have an idea of what to put in it. We're going to have a few changes, that's why I didn't go too much into mechanics here, but mostly into team building and the storyline, of course. So I hope you like this video. Enjoy. This story is not going to be one about my success. Every competitive player will think about the mistakes and flaws they brought into a championship. And this video is about mine. Before getting into the Birmingham Regional Championships, let's rewind just a little bit. I was second at Worlds 2024 and I had just won back-to-back tournaments in the 2026 season that started this September. So you can imagine that going into this tournament I feel pretty invincible. I was going to continue a 14 win streak, which on its own already was unrivaled. Yet anxiety is always around the corner. My team was a hot mess. I really wanted to play Grumpig and Clefable, and Guzzlord seemed to tackle a lot of the current meta too. Giratina was the signature Pokemon I always just slapped on there, but the bane of Giratina's existence currently is Scizor. Without Scizor being as good as it currently, Giratina cores so well with Fairy-type Pokemon, and because of that, I feel like I always need to bring Talonflame to shut it down. The Ground-type Pokemon of choice this time was Gastrodon again, just for some extra Scizor coverage. If we take a look at the top meta, you'll see that my team has some flaws. Corviknight is quite good into Clefable, Grumpig, Giratina and Gastrodon. Guzzlord is good into Giratina, Grumpig and Talonflame, and I have no hard answer to Azumarill. But because my confidence was at an all-time high, I was gonna do it anyway.
In my first round, I played against Visu Potencia, a Spanish player, and they had a nightmare team for me. Azumarill, Licky and Altaria are all like Pokemon that wrecked me, so I was nervous. It came down in game 1, I let Talonflame into Corviknight, I was just aligned from there. Game 2, well, he had alignment on me. And game 3, we kind of both threw, because I was about to catch an attack from Azumarill on Guzzlord, a play rough. Not smart, shielded it, because I panicked. Azumarill lived a Meteor Mash on 1 HP. And then he made a swap later that cost him the game, because it allowed my Clefable to farm in his Altaria, and then I came out with an attack. And then game 2, or match 2 against Lankern, old friend of mine, just had a bad team come against me. My Grumpig was just really good into him, and he had no Guzzlord check. I have a special Guzzlord, so that helps me.
Is it still recording?
Yeah.
I wanted to do two things. I wanted to just be like, yeah.
Round 3, I play against Raging Taz, a veteran. But he was more worried about me, because he was like, yeah, you're in shape and stuff, and maybe I am, not here though. Don't smile. My Grumpig was pretty good into him. He also had like the combination of Azumarill, Altaria, like everyone and their mom does. But he didn't really have a good Grumpig answer. His best was Ferret. And what Grumpig does, it wins the zeros into Ferret. So in game 2, he placed the zeros, but I farmed down entirely. And then basically I just aligned my Clefable after hitting his Azumarill coming in with a Shadow Ball as well. So Grumpig did a lot of work. And then Clefable on Azumarill, and I had a 2-shielded Shadow Talonflame on his 2-shielded Predilly, which Talonflame wins. So from there, we're now going to be up on stream against my good friend Arceus Aurelius. I hope I move him.
I'm sorry, my friends, I know you've been reminded of this so often, but here it comes one more time. We've played once before at 2025 EUIC. Arceus Aurelius had me in a close endgame, but accidentally choked even harder than I did in that moment. It tied up the score, and he got punished for it in game 3. So this is his chance at revenge. As you can see, his team exposes my weaknesses right off the bat. In pretty much all of these stream matches, you will see that my team compositions are always very weak to our particular Pokemon. That's not because I disrespect them or just make a call my opponent doesn't bring it, it's because my best Pokemon are covered well and their protectors are usually weak to that same Pokemon. In game 1, I play an ABB strategy against Corviknight. Bait out Corviknight with Grumpig, Clefable can sweep. This composition, however, is extremely weak to Guzzlord and Steelix. Arceus Aurelius leads Steelix, and that means it's going to be hard to swap out. Luckily, Arceus Aurelius for some reason lets Steelix go. This allows me to save Talonflame. At this point, Arceus Aurelius had red, there was Clefable in the back, but because Talonflame is hard to farm down by Corviknight, it can still chunk a lot of HP with Incinerate. Steelix hardly wins any zeros against anything, so I was kind of surprised he brought it in the first place. As you see in game 2, I again had a risky line. Corviknight and Azumarill are arguably my biggest weaknesses, so I'm always quite weak to those. This time I went very soft against Corviknight lead. Arceus Aurelius didn't even bring it though. The good thing here is that as long as Guzzlord was not an Azumarill, it had play into just everything Arceus Aurelius had. And then Grumpig does just fine into anything when it has an energy lead. And that's what happened. I farmed down the Azumarill, I had a lot of energy for either Steelix or Guzzlord, and because he brought Guzzlord and Steelix, it's hard for Arceus Aurelius to swap out, because if he does that, then there could be a Clefable potentially in the back, and Clefable is quite good into Guzzlord without Sludge Bomb. I mean, even with Sludge Bomb, Guzzlord goes down. On day 2, my matches against Pokémon were frustrating. Is that the right word? I practiced with some friends and felt this was going to be a hard match. The combination of Azumarill, Altaria and Gastrodon were so hard to overcome. The problem was that I felt like I needed Talonflame to take care of either Fortress or Abomasnow, and it would not have a lot of play into the other Pokemon. The way I won most of my battles was by treating Shadow Talonflame against Altaria as a neutral match, considering it's likely Azumarill in the back anyway. I could play something like Talonflame lead with Giratina in the back. But in the end, I went with a team very to Fortress lead. In my head, I thought Giratina would be too predictable and he'd lead Altaria or Azumarill, and I thought that Grumpig could deal with all 3 aforementioned Pokemon in the lead, and then Clefable could be left on the bench. It's too good. The funny thing was that Pokémon beat me at my own game here. He disrespected Talonflame entirely. It felt disappointing because I played so much Talonflame in my practice battles, and Pokémon and Palasha, she helped him with this matchup, felt like Talonflame was never coming and they had to take a risk. In the second game I brought Talonflame, but obviously it was too late here as I lost the lead, swap and closing matchup on alignment. In some way it felt flattering that Pokémon had the feeling he had to play it this way rather than having confidence in taking me on with neutral play. But also frustrating that I was hard called based on an entirely wrong prediction. That seemed to work for Pokémon anyway, so it doesn't matter. But this was another matchup where I felt like Azumarill combined with another bulky meta Pokemon was just so hard to handle. And that ends my win streak of 18 matchups in a row. I don't think anyone else had done that before. The run is not over. My first ever gold medal was won by exactly losing the first match on day 2, and then sweeping the losers bracket, so maybe I can do that again. And this one got in my head way too much as well. For time's sake, I'm not going too much in depth on how the battles were played, but rather on what my concerns were about this matchup. Corviknight again was a core breaker for multiple of my Pokemon. I only have one single answer for Galarian Corsola. Scissor can run through Giratina, Grumpig and Clefable, and then Guzzlord core breaks the Pokemon I want to use the most, which was Giratina and Talonflame. Finally, my own Guzzlord is walled by his Florges. I have nothing safe to run here. So this really comes down to making hard calls. Smeagol plays Stunfisk, Florges and Corviknight every game. In theory, yes, bringing Giratina puts me ahead so much in that composition, but I was always afraid of Guzzlord. Guzzlord and Corviknight makes a perfect pair for him against me, and considering he played so much Stunfisk and Florges, I think he wasn't aware of how good Giratina is against Florges without very tight charge stacks. When I see the leads, I can kind of tell very quickly what could be in the back, but the team composition is just straight up rough, and sometimes your opponent makes use of that and just plays really well. That's what Smeagol did, and he knocked me out. I ended my run in Birmingham with a top 12 placement. But the tournament is not over. I can still root for and help my friends. One of them is Maxi, my longtime buddy and former teammate. Once called a C-tier battler by Wadaj, he's now finally found consistency, hardly qualifying for Worlds last season until he got second in Utrecht, on the verge of winning it all too, and then almost got a trophy at that same Worlds with a 5th place. Success is there, but he's never been the number one. And all this C-tier nonsense I feel like really has gotten to his head. This has got to be his weekend. Maxi takes down Smeyo, Tonton Bateus and C. Leonardo to face Pokémon in the finals. There's hardly time to breathe for him. The losers finals is followed up by a grand finalist interview, which then goes straight into the matches. Pokémon had a whole losers finals to watch and prepare and taking advice from friends, so I figured I analyzed the matchup and briefly informed Maxi in between of what could be good for him and things to know about his matchup, so we could equal the level of knowledge here. Let it be clear that this entire run is Maxi's achievement and I don't intend to claim credit in this video, but in my head this was a perfect opportunity for me to not only help my friend succeed, it would also be sweet vengeance against Pokémon and his gross prediction play against me. He has his friends who help him and I will help mine. The first advice I gave Maxi is a composition to run. A line I'm positive he would have come up with himself either way at some point. Honestly, knowing Maxi, he may have forgotten it right after I told him and just found it as well. And if you see my previous videos, you'll find this concept very familiar. Pokémon doesn't have a core breaker for Annihilate and Jellicent, and those two also cover Fortress very hard. That same Fortress is the only answer Pokémon has for Wigglytuff, so the composition is easy. Strong lead, unbreakable core in the back. Maxi runs his line to perfection multiple times. In the first game, he immediately ran it and played for shield advantage. Both Jellicent and Shadow Annihilate in the back are capable of defeating the majority, if not everything, on the opposing team with a shield advantage. So Maxi does exactly that, and now Jellicent is on a zoomer roll. This matchup has significantly improved with the Shadow Ball buff. In the second game, Maxi ran it back, and this time he won the lead, but Annihilate can force its way through the Stunfisk safe switch, so this would keep Wigglytuff on Altaria. It could pose an issue if Pokémon had Abomasnow in the back, but he never brought it, probably out of fear of Annihilate. Maxi doesn't run the same line the third game, but still relies on the strong core of the two Ghost-type Pokémon. And then he demonstrated how fine Shadow Annihilate is against Altaria. This would then flip the switch advantage, put Shadow Merrick on Stunfisk and Jellicent on Gastrodon. If you cannot secure the game by winning the lead and essentially the middle matchup, how do you come back from this? With this 3-0 sweep, Maxi reset the bracket. Now you might wonder, why does Pokémon keep playing Gastrodon and not Abomasnow? Abomasnow is not even that good against Jellicent, and Pokémon knows Annihilate is always coming. You could argue it's time for a change, but I think in the moment Pokémon knew he needed to rely more on bulk than on Abomasnow energy, not even one-shotting Jellicent. Maxi relies on Jellicent and Annihilate again and takes game number 1 in the bracket reset. In game 2, he plays that same reliable line and order again of Wigglytuff, Shadow Annihilate and Jellicent. This time, he's about to get hard counters. Or is he? Maxi swaps in Shadow Annihilate immediately and is answered by Altaria. This time, Pokémon is ice cold and calls the bait, and now Altaria will win the 2-shield scenario. But now the shields are down, and when shields are down, Jellicent goes to town on Stunfisk. Normally Stunfisk takes his matchup because of the super effective Thundershock damage adding up, but now 2 Surf will knock out, and Jellicent even gets to a Shadow Ball against Fortress. Pokémon got all the calls right and yet can't win. Maxi, at this point, is just undefeatable. But Pokémon starts making it close. Maxi benched his safest Pokémon, Wigglytuff, for Steelix, and Steelix is really just hit or miss here. After losing game 3, he now plays a reliable line again, but this is something I told Maxi before the battle, and I think he forgot about it in a brief moment of quick reflexes. Pokémon swaps Gastrodon into Wigglytuff, and by doing so, he pulls out Jellicent from Maxi, so Azumarill from Pokémon can sweep in the back. Gastrodon is not even bad against Jellicent when shields are up after all. This allowed Pokémon to tie up the score. This last match is decisive for the title, Maxi's last chance of redemption. He will again force switch advantage with Shadow Annihilate, but as Pokémon swaps in Gastrodon, Maxi has to make a call. If he has Wigglytuff and Altaria, it'd be an easy win, but it could also be Azumarill. he sends out Wigglytuff, and now Jellicent has extra weight to carry.
When I came into this tournament, Martine said, "Oh, you're running Steelix, so you've come here to lose." I guess I haven't.
A big congratulations, my friends, if I had not said it enough already. For myself, it's probably good to have 2 feet back on the ground already, if that's an expression in English even. But I just felt a little bit too good about myself after winning back-to-back regionals. I mean, rightfully so, of course. But yeah, for me the question really is if I should keep running Giratina, because even though the Pokemon looked actually much more playable than I had initially expected, it is so hard to team build with that Pokemon, especially because of Scissors. So maybe if I let's not get too much ahead of myself. It's not like top 12 is bad anyway. And I don't think that I should give up on Giratina right from the bat now, just because I didn't win 3 regional championships in a row. But it's such a headache to team build, man. Open Grey League is an absolute pain sometimes. And speaking of that, what is not an absolute pain is the Europe International Championship meta. I love that meta. I'm so good at it, I think. But I'll be commentating it instead with Marto Galde, Speediest Chief, Landberger, and Tomahawk UK will be hosting. I'll drop the link in the description. Make sure to tune in starting this Friday, and then we have Saturday and Sunday, Championship Sunday as well. Hope to see you there, and I hope you like this video. See you later. Bye-bye.